Welcome back to War Thunder Weekly News. Hit the subscribe button now. This week I have an update on the loot boxes, a Q&A, and the 1.77 unofficial patch notes. Starting with the patch notes, a whole lot of things have been changed that they didn't tell us about for whatever dumb reason. Starting off, German and Japanese aircraft cannons have been overall nerfed. The MK-103s feeling it the worst, having a reduction in speed and explosive mass. There's some files for new bombs. Oddly enough, they are titled depth charges. I'm thinking now we're going to be able to drop depth charges from planes, which would be really cool. Quite a few of the naval bombers we have in game actually were used more for attacking submarines. The PBY comes to mind. Torpedoes and arcade are going to be much easier to use. In the terms of tank guns, APDS got a slight buff, but it's not the one we were hoping for, only having a minor increase. There was a slew of minor changes to random various calibers of shell. A few to take into mind is the M54 cannon now has HESH. The L7 cannons have had improvements in their ammunition, although nothing is outstanding. In the terms of aircraft, air brakes have been added to the damage model, which could end up being an intense change for high-tier jet combat, as most of those planes have air brakes, and using them can actually be very beneficial in the right situations. In the terms of tank damage models, the M47 got a makeover, having its side armor increased, although its turret mantling was heavily decreased, having some parts only with 74mm of protection, although at a rather steep angle. The A30 Challenger, the one at 5.7, finally got its correct turret armor, although along with that, the side armor has been reduced to a point where 50 cals could prove to be lethal, having its lower side armor be 14mm. The Armored Car Mark II got a makeover. General increase to the hull armor, but the turret armor was notably decreased. On the other hand though, the Mark II AA turret had a heavy buff, making the turret 50mm of armor thick. The Centurion Mark I had a nasty nerf to its turret armor, ending up at 127mm thick. The LVT-A1 also got a nerf to its turret armor, having it end up at 12.7mm thick. Last of the noticeable changes, the M48 got a makeover to its frontal turret armor, although it doesn't seem as if the mantle itself changed at all. The alterations seem to be in general positive, although weaker in certain points, although typically at very high angles. There's a new module for ships found in the files, Sonar. Very interesting in what that could be. It's possible it might just make it so targets are easier to spot and not actually be anything that fancy. But it could also be something rather fancy. There was some text dug up that had some weird words to it, like hotkey/ID ship select target AI prim, or hotkeys/ID lock target at point ship. Of all this weird text, the most interesting one was death/helicopter burn. Among it, there was also lots of talk of Xbox commands and a little talk of some PvP events. In the terms of official patch notes, there was a big old patch that happened where they tried to balance things. The first thing that everyone should know about is the Leopard 2K is at 9.0. Why it was ever at 8.7, I have no idea. Why it's only 9.0? Like seriously, this thing is notably better than any of the current 8.7 vehicles. I haven't played any 9.0 vehicles, but there's an obvious gap between the newest tanks and the last newest tanks, and to tier them anywhere together is baffling. The T-64A got 2 new shells, a HE shell, and an AP-FSDS shell. The T-64B also got this HE shell, but also Heat FS shell replaced with a newer version. There's been some controversy around that, though I haven't seen it in action because I haven't been playing top tiers because it's a mess right now. A few of the other changes, a bunch of German and US shells have been improved a notable amount. Well, it's mostly German. There's only one Japanese shell that got improved. It was mostly the explosive effect of various German shells ranging from 88 to 105, 175mm, and 150mm shell got improvements. Right about now is the best time to be playing mid-tier Germany. What I'm particularly excited for is that the Chi Uchiha 12cm shotgun got its HE shell much improved, now has 36mm of penetration, making it able to one-shot most tanks at its tier. Though personally I wish it would get its supposed AP or heat shell so it'd actually be competitive. There was a bit of a scare with the loot boxes. People thought they got released, but they in fact did not. It was just an accidental release. It was planned to be just tested. Though when looking over these possible skins to get out of these cases, people noticed that one of them was for Girls Un Panzer. Essentially, it is a Weeb skin. Caused a lot of controversy and proved that people still complain about things they did not read into, fearing that the game is now going to be filled of Weeb skins and demanding there be an ability to turn off certain unhistorical camouflages. Although in the original post of the loot box system, they noted specifically that you can turn off non-historical camouflages and that it would be off by default. But what came of the Weeb skin that was shown in this box, as it turns out, just about none of the items in the box are confirmed. Apparently that individual skin and probably a few others were no more than a joke for the devs. And none of this was ever supposed to get out to the public. This was confirmed by the artists of the Weeb skin, who apparently had gotten in contact with Gaijin. Essentially, as it had been spelled out, there probably will be no Weeb skins on account that it would be copywritten material. There was a Q&A with Gaijin's CEO, Anton something or whatever, on some random website that I'd never heard of before. A good amount of this was on material I already covered, but some sections were on the upcoming Xbox release of War Thunder. Essentially how it's going to work is that Sony doesn't want to play with Xbox, so it's either going to be Xbox plus PC or PlayStation plus PC. Gaijin has plans to add more options to console players, allowing for a 30 FPS version with good graphics or a 60 FPS version with less graphics. On Xbox, apparently, they are going all the way to have a 4K resolution, although only at 30 FPS. There was also a question asked at the very end of this, whether or not War Thunder is ever going to be coming to the Nintendo's Switch. And apparently, Gaijin has received a dev kit version of the Switch, and it's technically possible that it would run on the Switch, though there are no plans to add it. So my personal input to this is that, honestly, I think it would be kind of funny and cool to have it on the Nintendo Switch. I don't see it being a very big marketplace though, as Nintendo games typically are much less aggressive than War Thunder. But playing the game in your backyard or in the car or whatever could be kind of fun. Also, apparently all the armor values for the new tanks in-game are wrong, and you should read this very long Reddit post if you want to know how to kill these things efficiently. Anyways, that's been all the news this week. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you did not, don't hit the like button. I make these videos every Sunday. I make random videos throughout the week. If you want to be notified whenever I upload anything, hit that bell icon. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.